Welcome back, y'all. Thanks for joining us. I'm Gerald David.
And I'm Kitty.
And this is 2Aprons. Recently, we did our first ever live stream via Twitch. Thank you all for joining us, those of you who did. But we put together something special for those of you that missed it, and also just to have it in our catalog for Season 1, Episode 7. This is Celebrate Pride, Diversity, and Inclusion of All. And for this episode, we put together a spectacular dessert. I'm going to let Kitty explain to you.
So the dessert that we put together is called a Rainbow Sparkle Pinwheel. And it's an amazing dessert. If you make it, it's going to totally pop at the party. People get super impressed by it. So give this a view and let us know how it works for you at home.
Check out this footage we have prepared for you. I'm pointing here. I don't know where to point. Is it here? Is it here? Is it there? Welcome. This is us celebrating diversity and inclusion of all. Trying not to leave anybody out. Tonight we have a very, very special, yummy, yummy dessert. Tell them what we have in store for us tonight, Kitty.
So tonight we're doing a rainbow pinwheel cake, which is going to be a basic cake base. Then we're going to dye it and pipe it into strips.
So many strips.
So many strips. That does take a second.
It's
not a complicated recipe, but it does take a little bit of time. Once we get the strips together, we're going to stick it in the oven, let it bake for just a few minutes, pull it out, roll it up, and then once it's rolled, we'll put the frosting on, roll it back up, and we'll have our cake, our beautiful, beautiful rainbow cake.
Tell me what I need to bring you out.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our basic mix into, the first thing we're going to do is get 6 eggs into the mixer.
Oh, yep, 6 eggs. Coming right up.
Not looking at that recipe and almost forgot.
6 eggs coming right up.
6 eggs. Oh my gosh. That is like really, really high. This table is like rocking right now. We're going to beat these on high for 6 minutes until they are a lemony color and a lot thicker than they were when they went in.
So tell us a little bit like what inspired this recipe, Kitty.
So we really wanted to do something for Pride. We're both really big allies, and it's the last day of Pride, and we hadn't gotten anything out yet. So I looked online, and I was looking up the best Pride recipes. One year I did really awesome vodka cake flavor Jello shots that were in the shape of a heart, and they were rainbow, and those were really cool. But we wanted to do something edible since we had a cooking show, and so I found this recipe, and it was just so pretty that I really wanted to try it. And we tried it for the first time once, and it just came out so well that we thought we would do it again for this special.
And what we can do while we wait on this is we can go ahead and cut the parchment paper for our 2 pans.
And parchment paper is going to be like your best friend in this recipe.
That is the scissors?
Yeah. That is what enables this to be able to be like come off the pan and be rolled without having like massive sticking issues.
I put a little crease in the paper so it holds its shape, but boom, that's pretty much it.
And the other part of what Gerald David is doing, cutting it to size like that for the pan, it's going to be really important because when you go to start striping it, if you don't have it cut, your edges are going to be really difficult to do.
That's true.
Here we go. So we're going to add our mix.
I'm trying to be helpful. I'm not doing a good job. Boom, look at that. Look at that.
Thank you. And then we're going to add a 4th cup of sour cream. Normally I would say like non-fat Greek yogurt, but honestly, there is no making this recipe healthy. So you can do that if you want to make it a tad healthier, but we're just going to go ahead and do a 4th cup sour cream, a 4th cup water, and a 4th cup oil. So we're getting our oil, and then what we're going to do is we're going to beat all of that together on low for 30 seconds, and then on medium for a minute. And that's just going to give us like a really nice fluffy light batter. But what I'm going to do here is, the recipe says about 3/4 cup in each bowl. What we realized the first time we did this is it's actually about a cup, maybe a little less. So we're just going to pour it in here.
You're going to scoop it out, but I'm going to hold it.
Okay.
This way the cameras can see.
Perfect.
Kind of idea. I don't know where you're trying to put this.
Just somewhere where that'll go in. So just if you want to hold it over.
What are
and
we
show
aiming
me
for?
This cup measure.
Okay, that's what I did not recognize.
Yeah. So we're just going to do, go ahead. And it'll form a bead like that and pour pretty easily. Now be careful there. You
gotta
go.
tell me
Good job,
when.
good job.
You gotta
good
really
job.
tell me
Yep.
when.
Nope, that was perfect.
I didn't hear a stop at all there.
We're just going to do this 6 times. And stop. And job, good job.
There you go. Yeah, the more that helps.
It's gonna get a little drippy, guys. Like it's gonna be a little messy, so just like go with it.
What were you gonna say?
I'm gonna start adding food coloring.
This is the vibrant part. It's so fun.
So we're sticking to the actual colors of the rainbow. Roy G. Biv, everyone, if you remember that from like way back in the day. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Except we're leaving indigo out because I don't know how to make that color. So a half teaspoon of red. And honestly, this is a teaspoon and I'm just kind of like, I mean, if you haven't gotten it yet, I'm ishing that. So that'll be good. And we'll see how this turns out. Like, my thing is like start a little bit low and you can always add more, right? So I don't love sewing that on my table because it is dye. Food coloring is dye. So like, expect things to be dyed if you get food coloring on them. That is how that works.
That is true.
We're also we're gonna roll the cakes up in dish towels, right? So expect those to not be the same after that happens to them. I got another spoon, and here we go. Making some orange. I love all of the colors, but my personal favorite color is purple. Red, orange. We're gonna go to yellow, our happy sunshine color.
Green, blue, and purple. I can't tell the purple from the pink, but I'm close enough. Which one do you want me to do next?
Oh dear God. You can do whatever you want, Kira,
Awesome.
or...
How much do I put in?
Yeah, those are the colors you need. To your taste. So I'd start out a little bit lower, and then...
So we have our 6 colors here. Next, it's time to put it in the bag. What's in the box? What's in the box? I know it's not relevant. I was kind of like building off of what's in the bag thing, but...
So these are piping bags. You can make your own using resealable Ziploc bags. I am not great at that. I never have been ever in my baking career, and this is just way less messy for me, and that's what I prefer.
And piping is also, it's pretty tenuous. It's a little bit hard, so you don't want to be worried about your bag. I do think you should find a way to reuse them if you can, but don't worry about trying to like home make one per se.
And the piping is not horrible, but it is kind of tedious. Like it's definitely a repetitive thing.
It's a thing.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna hold this, and David is gonna pour that over into the piping bag.
With the red first?
Yeah. And then we have some twist ties here that we're just gonna tie that end off with. So if you wanna come over the top and like over the table, because I do not want that on the carpet.
I like it. And I got it, so you don't have to do anything.
Okay.
As far as like, you want it all in there, right?
Yeah. Another just like a note to make this easier is you want to try your hardest not to get it all over the sides. Like it's not the end of the world if you do, but it just makes it way easier if you can kind of get it to drip straight into the center, which if you've noticed these bags are relatively big. We had smaller ones last time and it was just a little bit more difficult.
It was. I got different ones this time. And they're a little bit better, I think.
And then you can always get like which I'm about to do here, is get like a paper towel and kind of wipe the edges where you get it, because you will be squeezing these bags and like using your hands.
So it pops back out the top is what happens once you put the bread ties on. Bread ties, do you see my bread ties?
So once we've got our color in there, we have not snipped the end. This end is closed currently. We're gonna just kind of twist the top, and I'm actually gonna twist it a little tightly. And then we're going to tie that off with a twist tie, and that's just going to help the icing to not come out the top the way that it otherwise might. I'm just going to set that on our baking sheet for right now. This is probably the most like delicate part of the process where it's useful to have 2 people. You can do it on your own, but
it would suck. If I did this on my own, I would make some type of stand for the piping bag. Honestly. Because I don't see how you would get this in there. I don't see how that would happen.
You just wouldn't be able to scrape the bowl out. We just jumped right into getting prepped, but you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees.
350.
We usually do everything on 450, so make sure you're hitting 350. A little bit.
What's the next thing?
The next thing we're going to do is cut the ends of the bags off. This is something that is delicate, and it will potentially make or break what happens with your cake. Because you want to start these holes really small and then go a little bit bigger if you need to. But if you cut them too big in the first place, you're not going to be able, this is batter and it's very liquidy. You are not going to be able to control that, that stream, and you're not going to be able, we're playing musical icing bags. You're not going to be able to control the way that you pipe it, and that is necessary in order for this to come out well.
It is. It is.
And what I'm going to do now
begins the piping
is
part.
start piping diagonal lines, and I do them in the actual order of the rainbow. Like you do them whatever order you want. So what I do is grab the bag. So I've got my first line, and it did not go amazing, but that is okay, because guess what? It's still going to look cool.
That's right.
All right, so red, and then I start piping. I'm going to do a line of orange. Now these, you don't have to get them. I'm doing it because I'm a little bit OCD as well. I do them right next to each other. You can leave have a little bit of room between them. They don't have to exactly line up.
No,
because it's going to fill in when it bakes, okay?
It will.
So I'm just piping, and this is going to be like the next 30 minutes of my life or so. And
but
again,
it turns out really well.
Like I'm coming back and filling in a little because like sometimes they don't go far enough to the edge, and this is going to create like the edge of your cake.
Absolutely.
So just be aware. Like you can always go back and like do whatever, like fix things and, you know.
Oh, look at that. Coming out so well. Look at that guy.
And keep in mind, like, if things overlap, like if your colors overlap, that's just going to show on the outside as a little bit of bleed, but it's going to be totally still gorgeous. And the other thing is, like, you can use the piping bag to, like, go back and fill in a little bit, move the icing without actually squeezing it.
Yep.
If you end up with too much space, but you don't want to, like, pipe more.
Yeah, be able to spread it around a little bit.
Just another note about like the piping bags. We have these twisted off, so they're handling pretty well, but you can also just kind of squeeze that down a little bit to make sure that, because like last time I didn't do that, and it did start coming out the top by the end of this first cake, and I finally got the angle right. So
yeah,
it took a while.
Perfect.
I was going back and filling in some stuff, and like, oh my gosh, like. Have I destroyed this? I have not.
No.
I ask myself that all the time. We're not like professional cooks or bakers or anything. So like, give yourself some grace. You know, you're gonna mess things up, and that's okay. Very rarely is it like the end of the world when you do. You know.
And how long does this sit in the oven for? It's only like 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, this is like I think like basically like a sponge cake. At
it
this point.
sits for a minute, but it only sits. It sits on the side for 30 minutes after that cooling.
Yeah, but it only bakes for 8 to 10 minutes. You don't want to bake it longer than that, or you're gonna have problems rolling it. It's gonna dry out, and it's gonna crack when you try.
Right at 8. I'd even say right at 8 minutes, man. I wouldn't let it go too much over. You're better off pulling it early, and checking it and putting it back if you have to.
In our experience, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Okay. Our experience on the first one that we did this, it was exactly 8 minutes, and it worked really well. So our timer is going for 8 minutes. Our cake is in the oven, and I'm gonna start.
What?
That was not the best decision on my part. I mean, it was to protect the table, but now we have on our parchment paper some.
No, we'll just do this.
There.
We'll just do this.
Are you gonna recut another piece? Thank you.
Yeah.
Because again, like I don't have a cloth on this or anything, and this is a surface that will die.
No, it's fine.
So,
yeah. While she gets started on that, I can go through and tell y'all how we do the icing. That's going to go in the center of this magical awesomeness. What all gets in this, Kitty?
So basically, we've got our icing in there. It's got some rainbow candy chips in there with it. They're a little bit bigger than sprinkles. We're going to add to that 1.5 cups of thawed Cool Whip.
And how much you say? 1.5 cups?
Yes. And then we're just going to mix that together.
It doesn't get nothing else?
No. Well, if you have, like, you can add more of the rainbow candies, just like...
I thought it got sour cream or something.
It's just that in the Cool Whip.
Oh, what got sour cream? Oh, something did.
That was the cake batter. It went in the cake batter.
I knew it went somewhere.
Oh, I am smelling that cake. We've got to be close.
2 minutes. According to this.
Yeah, it went on directly at the time, so I'm going to go with that and trust that. Because last time it was right.
Man, but it's a different oven. It might be ready now.
Oh, that's true. Why don't you check it? The recipe says that if the top springs back at the touch, then it's ready.
So what do we do now, Kitty?
So now we're going to
roll it up and prep it.
We're going to
powdered sugar.
We're going to take our baking towel, which we have here, and I'm going to pause on this for a minute and just set it over here so you can see what we're doing. We're going to take our baking towel here and we're going to
powdered sugar.
Sprinkle it with powdered sugar. It says sprinkle it. What you want to do is kind of like dump some powdered sugar on it and then shake it out over the shake it out over the sink.
I would actually say different. Don't dump it out on it. You want a very light dusting. I'm the one who unrolled it last time, so I'm a little bit more I'm sorry to butt in a little bit, but there were some difficulties with you don't want it clumped. We had to do some stuff to make it look as spectacular as it could be. You just want it lightly dusted. This is just a stop.
Well, the one I dusted last time did not work as well.
No, it did. I did them both. Didn't I?
No, I did one and I thought I had messed up because I dumped a bunch on there and then I shook it out and that was the one that came out better because there were no clumps.
Different towels. You still shake it out. You just don't dump it all in the center. That's what I'm contradicting. Yeah, you still shake it out. Kind of just spread it around. Is this what you meant by spread it around?
I mean, that's not what I did last time, but I'm sure that'll be effective.
Yeah. And then you dump it out, right?
Sure.
Yes?
Yeah, no? That's a lot less than I had on there. I dumped it last time.
I want so much less. I want so much less. So one of the things you have to do, I'll just take this out here. One of the things you have to do is take it out here and explain it to y'all. Look how this turned out. Boom. Cakelicious. Super vicious. What you have to do is take a spatula and kind of undo it from the paper before you flip it. If you don't do that, you're going to have problems. So what I'm doing is holding the pan, and this pan is hot too. This is a little bit,
this part's tricky.
This part's tricky. Boom. Boom, pow, look at me now. And because I started it, it's not so bad, but you really do want to start that tear using that spatula. And look at that, y'all. Boom, perfect. And again, this is the inside. So don't worry too much about whatever you're seeing, all this little stuff that flecks off. Can I hand that off to baby?
Yeah.
Thank you. How's that look, kitty?
That looks gorgeous.
All right.
And then what we're going to do is we're just going to roll that up in the towel. You can eat the little bits if you want to. Which, oh my gosh, so good.
And set a timer for 30 minutes.
Okay. It is good to know your oven.
It is very good to know your oven.
It's important. So just kind of keep an eye on how long it takes to cook things and whether it does what the directions say or whether it does its own thing.
That's absolutely right. And I'm going to go back to making the icing. So we have our 1.5 cups of Cool Whip going into how much icing is this?
It's just one container. 16 ounces, you guys, of frosting and 1.5 cups of thawed Cool Whip mixed together with some rainbow candies for additional color. We wouldn't want the inside of our rainbow sparkle pinwheel cake to be boring.
That's right. So now is the fun part. This is the one we're still waiting on.
Okay.
Or did I rotate it?
I want to see you rotated it because that
This
was way
is
bigger.
yes. This is the one we're still waiting on. And how much time do we have on that?
On that one we have 15 minutes.
All right. Oh, look at this guy. This gives it a little bit of memory. So when you roll it for the final dessert, it does it way easy.
And our icing we're going to split in half between the two cakes.
That's right.
Which I did not remember the first time because the recipe we're using doesn't talk about 2 cakes after the first time where it says do 2 baking pans. And so I went to put like all of it on one cake. And scooping it off is a little bit more difficult than putting it on. So I would suggest just like trying to go with half initially.
That's right.
There are lots of ways you can do this icing. My spatula is in the dishwasher and I did not wash it. So we're going to use like the back of a spoon as Gerald David is showing you now. And we've also got a butter knife here in case we just want to use that to spread.
That's right. And I'm pretty much using the spoon just because it's easy. It's right here. It kind of gives you kind of a general layout.
And you just, y'all
there we
probably
go.
know this, but just as a general note, you want to do it,
Pow.
you want to, light.
That's
You wanna
us,
do it-
remembering how to do things. Haha, look, you can see now.
You just want to use a light hand when you do it so you're not digging into the cake, creating
That's right.
holes, or like tearing the cake.
Now it is pretty resilient, a little sponge-like, but it ain't invincible. You can definitely mess it up.
And it's a bigger deal on different cakes. Sponge cake, you're probably not going to have a huge problem with. Other cakes can be a little more delicate. But this one, like, just do your thing and it'll probably turn out really well.
That's right. Be sweet to it. But this is pretty much it. This might be my last spoonful, maybe one more, but should get that, then we'll roll it up.
Yeah, you basically just want to get like a good, whatever you think a good layer is on there, covering to the edge. Like don't go too OCD about it, but like close to the edge, and then you're going to roll it up. And when you cut into it, it just looks really pretty.
Right on the edge.
Right on the edge.
Right on the edge. That's from AP Bio. So we're going to roll this guy up.
Ooh, that's dangerous. Always beware of your knives, because that was rolled right at me.
See how the light dusting did, so you're not leaving any marks on your pinwheel, which is good. The last one, we had to clean up just a little bit. Will you bring me the pan, baby?
Yeah. And you can do that by...
quickly, I'm sorry.
If you have to, you can clean it up a little with like a damp paper towel. Not
That's
wet.
right,
Wring it
that's
out,
right,
damp,
that's right.
and just kind of make that sugar disappear.
Boom. This is us. Boom, look at this. And this is the Rainbow Pinwheel. Brought to you by 2Aprons, Gerald, David, and Kitty, and the internet. Yes, thank you. Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know it's a little bit weird because you're seeing footage of another thing and you're like, how come you didn't make this the first thing? We're just trying out streaming. Streaming's kind of the main thing right now, so we're trying to get in where we fit in.
It was a lot of fun to do, and we really hope that you guys enjoyed it as well. Again, let us know if it worked for you at home. If it didn't, ovens and times may vary, so kind of tailor it to your own equipment and everything. But it was a lot of fun to do, and I really recommend trying it. Again, it makes a great presentation. We were recently interviewed on another YouTube talk show called Fries Talk.
Fries Talk.
And that is what we brought in for the cast and crew to try and for a little taste test, just for the show. And it ended up looking really good on camera, and it was really exciting. Everybody really loved it. So let us know your experience with it, and we hope you guys had a great time.
The Rainbow Sparkle Pinwheel for the win.
Sparkle.
Cheers. This is for everyone who feels left out. Don't feel left out. Just get in your kitchen, start cooking, and feel the love tasted everywhere. Thank you guys from 2Aprons. Keep watching, keep liking, keep subscribing. It's gonna be so good. This is my yummy, yummy dance. Yummy, yummy dance.